Hello peeps and hello peppers and welcome to Film Friday. Since I had a surprise trip to a small offshore island where you had to go with a ferry and had like almost no infrastructure, I decided to retell a film where this is also a motive. This happens to be one of my favorite movies as well, and it's effing hilarious. It's called La Grande Séduction in French. In English, this is called The Seduction of Dr. Lewis, and actually, here I'm reciting the French Canadian version because I have not seen the Anglo Canadian version, but I think like the English speaking world knows a very similar movie with Michael J. Fox called Doc Hollywood. No matter what these cards reveal now, the story revolves about a young plastic surgeon who has to, sort of as a punishment, go to a really remote village on a little island with almost no infrastructure, which you can only reach by ferry. And he makes some friends there in really kind of odd ways. La Grande Séduction, okay, this already sounds like a little bit of a racy film, but actually, like, there are no racy scenes, but I decided, my usual scheme here, 7 cards from the deck that looks a little bit like old films, and 1 from a different deck that has a remote similarity to the film. And I think, like, this deck also has some, like, taboo themes, bodily themes, and like La Grande Séduction, because it's about a doctor, it also talks about like some iffy things connected to the body that the characters didn't have anyone to talk about. Yeah, they didn't have anyone to talk to who would understand that they had bodily iffinesses. So the bodily iffiness card is actually quite tame compared to the rest of the deck. It's and yeah, like the film, this tape deck, this tape. Yeah, I really can't talk today. This deck is from Quebec, and it says "Danser avec le soleil," dancing with the sun. So I would actually say that these characters in The Great Seduction of Dr. Lewis, they sit a little bit in the dark because they are really isolated from the outside world. Like, this film was made in the early 2000s when we didn't have smartphones yet. So actually, the kind of desperate main characters here, Germaine and Stephen, break into the abandoned school to use a computer with internet that strangely still works. And like when they finally get Christopher, the doctor, to their remote village, even though for the wrong reasons, they kind of do everything to keep him, investigate his hobbies and like spy on him also in ways that are like very ethically questionable. But they also like dance with the sun because they make things work. They make things work because they have the hope that Christopher will stay and actually propel some infrastructure in this little town. So, which aspect can I talk about here? Like the King of Swords. Yeah, I would say the only two people in the remote village who have work due to this lack of infrastructure are the young woman of Post Canada. So yes, actually, this is a snail mail movie a little bit. That's also part of the reasons why I like it. And the Lord Mayor and the banker. But that's actually where the infrastructure stops. So Swords is always the air element. There's probably a lot of fresh air in this infrastructureless village. And those three people who have jobs are actually a little bit of the kings and queens, because all the other people line up for their welfare checks, and they find a lot of shame for that, even though they all know each other and should all be considerate of each other. Is that a raven, or is that a can't recognize it now. Anyway, something impending, something bad. Like, yes, that could always be the change of the months where the people have to meet up in shame in front of this improvised postal counter. Pentacles, on the other hand, mostly mean something with wealth. Maybe I could say the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, because the people, let's say, in the movie, I don't see them believe in God, but they host city meetings at the church and always ring the church bell for that. That adds to the absurdity, but, well, at least this is another place where the people really come together, and as opposed to the postal counter, these church bell city council meetings really give them a voice, and having a voice can be a lot of wealth. There is a happy ending with all of them getting a job, even in strange conditions, by the way. The Two of Pentacles here. Okay, this is like a dog performing. Like, the people perform a role. Like, they learn the rules of cricket because Christopher likes cricket so much, even though they themselves are much more into ice hockey. And they practice so much that Christopher should think they have a functional cricket team, and they build like equipment for cricket out of old paddles and boat stuff. Here we have the Eight of Pentacles. This person looks like they're fixing a clock. So yes, there are a lot of like old houses being fixed or being dressed up so that like, and even the ugliest house that cannot be provided to a guest is then just dressed as a ruin that is like a national memorial site that you cannot enter. The Ace of Pentacles. Of course, it would be really ace to have a doctor in the village, because, yeah, like, the people don't have any other means to take care of themselves except for very unhygienic ones, and then someone says, we could build a factory in this village to give you all a job, but there you would have to provide evidence that you have a working doctor here. How many pentacles do we still have here? Yeah, like the castle. I would say this this village has basically nothing. But the 120, I think, people who live there, they are still proud to live there. They still want to make this village likable. So, well, like one subtitle says, he like Christopher has to fall in love with Sainte Marie la Moderne. That's the name of the village. And you spell modern with Maude and so forth. So I don't know if that refers to modern or if that is like supposed to be a joke or something. The Fool in classic tarot, this is like usually going on a journey where you, without much knowledge, without knowing the outcome. And here this is actually more Alice in Wonderland with going down a rabbit hole. And yes, I would say the characters in Sainte Marie la Moderne go down a rabbit hole because they investigate Christopher. They have to think about constantly how much they can actually compromise their usual lifestyle just to represent the functioning village. I would actually say they also learn about themselves, and they are kind of shocked when they can't do this charade anymore. And Christopher tells him he wants to stay because he has never met people who are as authentic as the inhabitants of Sainte Marie la Moderne. I would say this is a hilarious, funny movie that has like more depth than it looks like at first sight. It's like, let's say, much less Hollywood than Doc Hollywood and much more, let's say, homey, more. Don't misunderstand me. I like Doc Hollywood too because I like Michael J. Fox a lot, but I also like La Grande Séduction for Old Memories, where actually someone in Iceland presented this film to bring people's attentions to the problem of undersupply with medical services in rural areas in Iceland. And I mean, this was already more than 10 years ago. So, I mean, the problem is still there. That we don't have enough doctors in the first place, that many doctors complain on TV they can't feed their families of the money they get. And let's say, especially in rural areas, many people don't get the treatment, be it physically or mentally, that they would need. And sometimes the wait is just too long for proper treatment, so some conditions are getting worse by no doctor being present. So I actually think that is another rabbit hole, and we need also comedy films to yes, to see things with humor, but to lift the curtain, to recognize the serious issues behind such a funny story. So I wish you a wonderful night where you have both humor and seriousness, and a good dream, because it's already past 11. Bye bye.